Hey guys, this is Nerfs here, and today we are back on the PTS to address one of many questions that have been asked of me to test on the PTS for you guys. And this also has been brought up as an issue in several Discord servers I'm in and the official ESO forums, and that topic is werewolves in PvE. Now, once the Scalebreaker DLC PTS patch notes were out, the first iteration had people saying, hey, my werewolf DPS was buffed. Now they nerfed it, and now it's useless. But is Werewolf PvE DPS really dead? In my opinion, after testing someone on the PTS and fooling around, I would say no. Compared to other things they've nerfed in Scalebreaker, I would say Werewolf is probably one least hit. To be honest, it was more a great adjustment for what it is. So for those of you who aren't familiar with how Werewolf PvE DPS specs work, it's basically built as much raw stat and gear, the correct gear sets like Blood Moon or Reliquant, whatever, and then you pretty much turn into a werewolf and you just light attack. That's pretty much it. You may have the occasional skills you use like Pounce, Howl of Despair for providing synergy to your raid team or something, and Infectious Claws, but other than that, it's not really a complicated rotation. It's not, if you could even call it a rotation, but it's pretty fun, obviously. But for what it is, it shouldn't be giving huge numbers compared to what other people can achieve doing more complicated rotations and a higher level of gameplay and skill play. So, like, is it a nerf? Yes. It was a general nerf across the board for everyone, including werewolves. But werewolves, I think, needed the adjustment, especially for PvE. Just too easy, especially in solo instances like Maelstrom Arena. So I'm kind of glad they addressed some of the aspects of werewolf for PvE this patch. So we're going to be going over what exactly they changed. So let's go over this right now. For Herstein's bounty to heal, they increased the cost of disability and both its morphs by 25%. So previously it was going to be 45% of our max health, but now it's about 37.5% of our max health, which is still ridiculous considering if you look at the other healing nerfs they did for Scalebreaker. And Herstein's range, right here I believe, they also increased the duration of Major Brutality by 10 seconds, so from 20 seconds to 30 seconds, which is a pretty nice change, especially for PvP maybe. Herstein's Fortitude, this morph is also, I believe, a little bit stronger compared to the base skill. I believe about 20-25% stronger. So honestly, like, yes, they nerfed it by increasing the cost, but at the same time, they didn't really nerf it for this skill. The next skill, Infectious Claws, on the patch notes, so they increased the cost yet again, but the cost increase was like in the ballpark of 200-ish stamina. I mean, that's not really a huge deal for most werewolf PvE specs, and a lot of people were like, oh wow, that's too much. I don't know why, but anyway, but also they also nerfed the dot portion of Infectious Claws, so it's going to be doing 11% less damage per tick of the damage over time component. However, the initial hit of Infectious Claws has been increased by 25%. So it's a trade-off here. So again, not really a nerf, more of an adjustment. And we have Howl of Despair, the cost reduction, I believe. Cost reduction was pretty much across the board, sort of. After the Infectious Claws and the Herstein's Bounty. Howl of Despair is kind of interesting. So this is a skill that you occasionally use every 10 to 20 seconds in a raid as a werewolf, because it provides a synergy to other people. And they actually reduce the cost of the ability by quite a bit, like 700-ish stamina. However, they did reduce the damage dealt by about 14%, I believe. And there's a PvP morph now where you do 33% more damage on a fear target. I mean, that morph could also be used for PvE when you're maybe like your necro or you're just tanks in general, or people fear things for you in dungeons or trials. There's going to be universal fear essentially with the addition of circle protection morph. I believe, let's see, yeah, turn evil. It doesn't just affect undead anymore, it affects anything. So you have to take that into consideration as well when you look at the werewolf skill line. And pounce, again, this was also reduced in cost from about, I believe, not by much, honestly, but again, they're just adjusting it. The AoE damage, however, from Brutal Pounce has been nerfed. Now it just deals the same damage as what you landed on, so it's a bit more alive, I believe. But yeah, other than that, we have the last skill, Roar. They did increase the cost of this ability. They also reduced the radius from 8 meters to 6 meters. However, they increased the duration of the fear to 4 seconds from 3.3 seconds, which was a really weird number anyway. And also, they fixed an issue with the major fracture not applying on the fear targets. So again, a nice adjustment to make for the werewolf skill here. And we also have more cost reduction if you really want cost reduction on Ferocious Roar. So really, overall, just looking at these 5 skills they adjusted, it's not really heavy nerfs. So why are people saying it's gone? So what they did with the pack leader morph, the white werewolf morph, was they basically made it into more utility morph, where your wolves would do a lot less damage than they are now on live, and where they are applying minor maim instead. And they pretty much transferred the raw damage portion of the werewolf pack leader over to this morph, werewolf berserker, saying, hey, well, a lot more people are doing pack leader over berserker and no one's really picking berserker. So they basically pretty much buffed this morph, in fact, by in terms of the bleed damage from your light attacks by 25%. So all in all, just looking at the changes and considering some of the new things coming to the Scalebreaker DLC patch, such as the 2-piece Marsalok, where you as a werewolf you can synergize and also bash things. I mean, that's pretty huge. There's a lot of things to consider when you look at the werewolf. In fact, it might even be as strong or stronger next patch, potentially, if the more we look at things. So, is it dead? No. Has it been nerfed slightly, but it was a necessary adjustment considering the little to no effort you make to get huge DPS parses. But yeah, that is pretty much it today for this video, guys. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed and will like and subscribe. If not, that's fine too. But regardless, stay safe, have fun, and see you guys next time.